say to you that if you are a guest or a visitor in this service, I am sorry. One of the last things that you want to do is to show up for worship on Sunday morning and for someone to talk about church business. But today is our annual parish meeting. Immediately after this service, your cookies will be in here. And your coffee, we're trying to keep you in here so we can have the meeting. And as you know, my practice is that I give my rector's report at all of the services this weekend. So you are not suffering alone. Quite frankly, it is very difficult for me to believe that this is the fourth time I've stood before you and given a rector's report. Granted, the first time I did that, I had only been here a few months. But still, that this is the fourth one under my belt just really fascinates me. I'm a little bowled over by it. One of the things I often do when I write these reports is that I try to think of some theme or something that wraps it or holds it together somehow. Sometimes it's a story, sometimes it's a prayer, sometimes it's whatever. This year it's a word. The word is generosity. I want to talk about your generosity this year, in 2017. And I want to start by talking about generosity of time. Each year, many of you contribute your time and talents to Iona-Hope, as well as other ministries through Iona-Hope. This past year, we saw additional important contributions. We began the year with Raising Hope, our capital campaign under the leadership of Paula Paquette and Robin Mills. Many of you volunteered to assist and support this process. Because of the generosity of Paula, Robin, and you, we had a very successful campaign. If you hang around church offices very much, especially in the Episcopal Church, you know that this is often not a very pleasant time to be there. And it's often not a pleasant time to be there because of something called annual parochial report. This is something that we submit to the Episcopal Church with a copy to the Diocese of Southwest Florida. And the report chronicles our financial, membership, and attendance activities for the previous year. And last year, when we filed this report, we noted that our average weekend attendance, which means all three services, our average weekend attendance in 2016 was down about 4. That's statistically insignificant unless it shows a trend. This year, as we are preparing this report, it indicates to us that last year, in 2017, our average weekend attendance rose 24. Now that's significant when you consider that Easter came late last year and a lot of you who time your visits and time here had left and gone north. But that's a very important observation. Of course, there's much more to us than the numbers, but I would like for you to hear that. Whereas some people attend because they see our sign or ads on social media, many attend because you generously invite and bring them. Your generosity of spirit, invitation, and welcome is the reason that people return after their first visit. They say over and over to me, it's the most welcoming place I've ever been, or it's one of the most. You get them here, and you make it a place they want to return. Now, most days of the week, you see people giving generously of their time all around this place. Under the leadership of Donna Crass, many people volunteer and work in our after-school program. Volunteers gather in the office to support our administrative and office team, while Altar Guild, MCs, choir, booth operators, worship service programmers, facilities and building workers, thrift store, wardens, vestry, and there's one that was particular to each of you that I forgot. And I forgot it. It wasn't on purpose. And many others lend valuable time and talents that supports our work in ministry. We would be remiss if we did not mention Jane Shafroth. For the past couple of years, Jane has managed our One More Time thrift store, and she did so as a volunteer, saving us financially. During the last quarter of 2017, Jane decided to move back closer to family. We are very grateful for her generosity of time and her love of the thrift store and volunteers. Generosity of finances. As I mentioned before, the Raising Hope capital campaign was a great success. We targeted raising $990,000 and received commitments for $1,040,000. Through your generosity, we have already received about half of this, allowing us to pay off 9 months early the mortgage held by First Citizens Bank. We burned this mortgage, which will allow us to reassign over $30,000 of debt service to our outreach and operating budget. Your financial generosity extends to many areas of our common life. We moved our annual pledge campaign to the fourth quarter in 2016. This move successfully supported the 2017 budget and allowed us to accomplish important tasks and ministries. Recently, we completed a successful pledge campaign for 2018 under the leadership of Mike Donlin and Bob Earl. Additionally, many of you give freely to our after-school program, outreach, clergy discretionary funds, and special requests such as the Christmas appeal and food drives. Because of your financial support and generosity, we were able to reassign funds to purchase a used van for the use of our after-school program. Generosity of talent. You come from many walks of life with many talents, abilities, and understandings. Your knowledge of office, administrative, financial, building, worship, and various abilities brings a plethora. I had to find a place to use plethora. A plethora of offerings to Iona-Hope. Some that you see are our musicians, Lauren, Christine, Tim, Janie, and I inadvertently left out Karen last night, who plays guitar at the 5 o'clock, as well as retired clergy who assist and encourage our worship, especially the Reverend John Gamble and the Reverend Peg Harker. Many of you serve in groups and on teams that offer direction and advice. The next section is entitled Hurricane Irma. It's that important. Congregations and nonprofits know that as we start out any given year, what will happen is ultimately unpredictable. We can plan for everything, but I did not want to have to deal with a hurricane. I learned that I have a different kind of anxiety when someone tells me that a Category 5 hurricane is headed to my home. Perhaps it was my crisis management training and experience that helped me stay calm, especially as it dropped in severity. That didn't hurt. Nevertheless, I believe that Hurricane Irma highlights the strength of Iona-Hope. On Monday, as it became clear that Irma would come up the west coast, we decided to move ahead with preparations. We moved all computers and essential electronic equipment to tables in here. This space is designed to withstand higher winds, although all of our facilities are in the initial floodplain. Once this was completed and some of our most important files were relocated, Ken Owens moved the relatively recently acquired and barely used by us van up into the outside area near this door. I think every one of us left that day expecting to return to much damage, the least of which we expected all of those buildings to be gone. On Monday, after the Sunday landfall, I came to check on the buildings. To my surprise, the buildings were intact and in good shape. There had been some water intrusion in Mother Susie's office and the main office, but this was minor. There had actually already been some in Mother Susie's just prior to the hurricane. All windows and roofs functioned well. We did not have electricity, but got the word out that we would have a flashlight Eucharist on Wednesday morning. These hurricane shutters were closed, and without electricity, we couldn't open them. With no lights, it was dark in here. We did. We had the service. We also began to contact people who we knew stayed through the storm and to assess the needs of our community. We had actually stayed in contact with people throughout the whole time. Over the next few days, we established contact and assisted where needed. On Friday, we got power, and the flashlight service that we planned for Sunday as the only service became our usual service. For those of you who were not here, hear this. As people gathered, there was an incredible level of joy and excitement at seeing each other. What a joyous worship service. Over the next few weeks and months, we continued to assess the needs of the community. Also, we knew that Irma highlighted key needs for Iona-Hope. Our telephone system, long past its prime, had failed us. Further, in the process of relocating our computers, one suffered the loss of a hard drive. It was clear that we needed to update our phone system and computer system. We set about assessing our needs and looking at our possibilities. Ultimately, we have updated our phone system and replaced key computers. We are still looking at upgrades for software and services, but we'll come out of this better able to do the work that we need to do. In retrospect, some things are clear to me about this time. First, we are a diligent group. That was not my first choice of words. My first choice was stubborn. And they are both true, because we are. And I don't see that as bad. We only missed one weekend of services on site here at Iona-Hope, the weekend of Sunday landfall. Nevertheless, a group of us in shelter at South Fort Myers High School had a service there. And we prayed for you. Second, we were able to face a difficult situation and remain committed to working with and for the community, not just focusing on ourselves. Third, we used a difficult situation to push ourselves for needed change in our systems. Fourth, you never gave up. You came to worship, you emailed, phoned, and you sent your financial commitments. We are stronger for having come through Hurricane Irma. I firmly believe that this strength is not based in our surviving it, but in your faith in God and your decision and desire to follow Jesus. So where do we go in 2018? No more hurricanes. First, we are well along the way on improving our financial situation. We need to continue to free funds and generate income for ministry and outreach. There is always more work to do. There are never enough people, and there's never enough money, but we will do it with God's help. Second, we need to take a look at our small group structures and focus. It is important that our groups live mission as much as fellowship and become places of contact with our community. Third, we need to continue to upgrade our computer systems to facilitate data collection, promotion, and communication. We're pretty much almost there, not much more to do there. Fourth, we need to move ahead with planning and implementation of the first phase of our facility and building program. We have started meetings to move ahead with this goal. Last, we need to continue to invite, welcome, and incorporate new members, not because it makes us feel good or because it makes us a larger congregation, but to join us in ministry and mission in the world. We must continue to grow in love and service, and there are people out there who we need to join us and who, quite frankly, I think they need to join us. Conclusion, I bet you never thought I'd get here. If you're around Iona-Hope very much, you know that our staff gives generously to our congregation and the community. We cannot ever pay them enough. We should try, but we can't. Ken and Donna Owens care for our grounds and facilities as if they are their own. They are tireless in their work for Iona-Hope on this campus and the thrift store. If you do not know, not only do they care for these facilities, they take care of the facilities at the thrift store as well. But it is not about a job for them. It is about ministry. And it is not their only ministry. Ken cares for the van, and they serve on the altar guild and as ushers and greeters for the 5 o'clock service. Our musicians go above and beyond their jobs. They care deeply about our worship, and they are very gifted and meaningful part of our congregation, and their contributions are deeply appreciated. Donna Crass, although a volunteer, gives so much to us through her oversight of the after-school and work in other ministries. Your vestry gives many hours, as do your wardens, Joe and Ray. Joe Molino serves us very well as senior warden and is a close confidant to me. Ray coordinates a working group who keeps our facilities in order. The Reverend Susie Post, don't tell her I said this, joyfully gives so much to Iona-Hope. I am sure that you see some of this, but you should know that her gift to Iona-Hope mimics an iceberg. What you see is the smallest part of what she gives. She is a gift to us all. Speaking of gifts, there is Marnie Ike, our parish administrator. If she doesn't know how to do something, and there isn't much, she learns. She is a trusted colleague and speaks truth to me. Even more, She is an exceptional administrator whose work and support makes possible our ministry. To them and to you, I express my deepest gratitude. It is your generosity that makes it possible for Iona-Hope to be God's presence in this part of Fort Myers and the world. Thank you. Give yourself a hand.